Hi folks, I want to talk a little bit about enlightenment, and I've talked about this subject before, but let's revisit it, and maybe there'll be a few more nuggets of insight come out. I'm really sensitive about words like enlightenment, awakening, liberation, salvation. Can I think of a few more? Illumination. The reason that I'm sensitive about these words is because I come from a Christian background which used this word salvation and redemption, and it was to do with a big con that there was something wrong with you, something wrong with human nature that had to be redeemed by something outside of you, God, that God would come and rescue you from your natural state. I've since come to understand that the natural state doesn't have anything wrong with it, that everything is as it's supposed to be, even with all of the nasty stuff. You know, animals fighting. You know, there's an adversarial side to the entire universe, really, when you just look at the nature of energy itself. On the microscopic level, my immune system is battling invaders all the time. Animals kill other animals for food. Asteroids collide with planets in a big burst of energy and in our past that has happened here, that has caused great destruction. So there's this adversarial side to the universe that is completely natural. So I'm in danger of losing my train of thought here. Anyway, so we don't need to be saved. Salvation is a big hoax, a big con. But yet I hear spiritual teachers who are not Christians, not attached to any formalized religions, people who are on the same kind of non-duality vibe that I'm with, and they use the word liberation as if there is an unliberated, enslaved state from which you need to be liberated from. They'll use the word enlightenment as if there is an unenlightened state that you need to recover from or be illuminated into. Again, illumination. It's like the light is either on or it's off. All these words point to a singular state where there is you before and you after. And it's exactly the same as what the Christian calls salvation. You before, you after. You with a problem, you with your problem solved. You know what I mean? So, my Christian background makes me very sensitive to that notion, very sensitive to spiritual teachers who are subtly trying to make you think that there's something wrong with you, that they have a message that you need, that everyone needs, and if you don't have it, you're on the outside. And I think there may be some people who are just truth seekers like me, who think they're missing out on something because they haven't understood a particular thing and they feel maybe like they're on the outside of some special enlightened state that someday they hope to attain if they just get the knowledge right, and then they'll have made it. No, that's a big hoax, you know. I could easily fall prey to this myself, except I'm very sensitive about it, because when I withdrew from Christianity and discovered this non-duality thing, it really was a very remarkable change that happened in my mind, where it was like a light going on. But you know what? There have been several subsequent lights that have went on since then. And even back when I was a Christian, I really wasn't that dumb. I was actually rereading some old blog posts that I had written as a Christian, and I was by no means a fool back then. In fact, figuring out whether Christianity was true or false was the biggest dilemma of my life. And I know sometimes I do give the impression that religious people are stupid people, and because sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes it's true. But it's not true of them all, and it wasn't true of me. But yeah, you know, if you're a truth seeker and you think you're on the outside of something that one day you're going to attain, just relax, because there's nothing to attain. You know, if you're in some kind of enlightened state, or you think you are, you're still going to have pain in your life. You know, if you have someone if someone in your family dies, you're going to grieve over that, whether you're enlightened or not. That's supposed to happen. You're not supposed to feel happy all the time. If you didn't grieve when a member of your family died that you loved, you wouldn't be human. Or if a relationship ended and you were very attached to that person, that's going to cause pain. That's supposed to happen. So the great con is that you can reach some kind of other state of consciousness that takes away your pain. And people like Eckhart Tolle are trafficking in this kind of hoax, this kind of con. I mean, it may sound silly to say so, but if you believe in Eckhart Tolle's philosophy that you can become detached from your ego, you can become the observer of the ego, if you really believe that as a means of insulating yourself from pain, then light up a candle and stick your hand in it, and let's see how detached you really are. And you might say, oh, but that's physical pain. Well, listen, there's no real difference between emotional pain and physical pain. Not really. It's all pain. And sometimes emotional pain is way, way worse than physical pain. And I've been there. So, what I'm really trying to get across is, relax. There's nothing to discover. Everything is working perfectly just as it is. There's nothing to find. I mean, we evolved. We're animals, right? At some point in our evolutionary past, we were a different organism altogether. So we're cousins with all the other animals, right? We're evolutionary cousins. Now, this may sound like a silly question, but it's not. What would a dog have to do to be enlightened? How would a dog become enlightened? That's a stupid question, isn't it? It's stupid because enlightenment for a dog consists in being a dog, right? So what does a human being have to do to be enlightened? Just be a human being. That's it. There's nothing to find. But you might think, oh, no, but we're not just dogs, we're human beings, as if that somehow makes a difference. Now, what I sense right there is Christianity or some other religion's subtle influence where you're still clinging to this notion that you're special, that you're the image of God, whatever that means. No, you're not. You're an animal. Yes, there is some kind of metaphysical root to consciousness, most definitely. But that root also exists within all other organisms. I would suggest that root is even present in inorganic matter, in everything in the entire universe. It all comes from that impenetrable, non-dual essence that is the ground of being, whatever that is. And I know that sounds very technical, but we don't have a vocabulary for it. We don't have a good vocabulary. We just know that this all came from something that's non-local, something that's infinite. So the consciousness that a dog experiences, that a rat experiences, that a virus experiences even, that a plant experiences, that all comes from the same place. And that place is you. You are it. So stop trying to cling to these notions that there's something wrong that needs to be fixed. And I was really disappointed the other day because I found a video and I featured it on my website. I thought it was so good. It was called The Universe Explained in 3 Minutes, and it was fabulous. And it explained non-duality in scientific terms, talking about singularity and everything. The sort of words that I've been using for the last few years. It was brilliant. And then I went to the video maker's channel and I played another video, and he was on the whole vibe that there's going to be a big awakening experience for all of humanity, that we're on the cusp of some new age, some age of Aquarius, but he didn't use that term. But this is dangerously close to this same old story there's something wrong and it's going to be fixed and the fix is just around the corner. There's nothing wrong. There was never anything wrong. Life just is. Every moment is now, and you better start living it for now, because the future doesn't hold any promise, except one day it's going to be the now, just like now is the now. So there's nothing wrong with this place. It's not fallen. Humanity is not in a fallen condition. And life really can't be held down. It can't. It's like it just is. Life happens. And if I were to, if I looked over there and I saw a big tidal wave coming, a big tsunami coming, actually it would have to come from over there, and that would be 40 miles away in that direction. But if I saw a big tidal wave coming, there's no way I'm going to get away from that, right? That's coming to kill us all. Right? Let's say there's a big asteroid fell, the movie Deep Impact, and it's a global killer, and here come the tidal waves to wash humanity away, and we're gone. But you know what? I think, of course, I don't want to. What I'm going to say is, I think part of me would be laughing about it. And I'm saying that, and I know that has never been tested. Of course it has never been tested. But to me, you see, that is not the end of everything. You just can't hold life down. Because if that happened, I would just be thinking, okay, it's time to, Earth is getting the reboot button pressed. We're rebooting the Earth. And life will just emerge again. And it will take a long, long time before it ever gets to the state that it's in now. But I mean, the state that it's in now isn't the end, right? There's more evolving to do. So, accept things as they are and just flow with the current. Flow with life as it is. And get with it. There's nothing coming to save you, because you don't need saved from anything. You don't need enlightened. And it's because I've been talking about all these spiritual things, it's very easy for me to create the impression that you need this message, but you really don't. If you felt like just picking up a guitar and learning it and becoming really skilled as a guitar player and not bothering with any of this spiritual talk, that's actually perfectly fine. I do this kind of thing because it stimulates me, because I get something out of it, because it improves my life. But if you feel you don't need it and you want to learn to play guitar and devote all your energy to that and become an expert, there's nothing wrong with that. And instead of the word enlightenment, I've grown very fond of the word initiation as a better term, because there are levels of initiation. And of course I'm borrowing that term from magical orders and secret societies, but it's an appropriate term. You can be the grade 1, grade 2 or grade 3. And when you really think about it, I'm not meaning this in any weird esoteric sense. When you learned to read when you were a kid, you were essentially being initiated into a new way of interacting with the world. A whole new arena of educating yourself was opened up to you through the ability to read, through that skill. So imagine being an adult and not having that skill, not being initiated in that way. Think about how your life would be compromised. So there's a sense in which you don't need it, but it's very beneficial to you if you have it. And that's the kind of vibe that I'm on with this sort of knowledge that I talk about. You don't need it, but it's very useful for you. It doesn't make you enlightened, but it serves a purpose. Same is true if you were stuck on a desert island. Imagine you knew how to make fire. Well, then you're going to be better off than not knowing how to make fire in that kind of a circumstance, It's not that one's enlightened and the other isn't. It's just one's better off than the other. And there are all kinds of ways that you can initiate yourself, all kinds of paths of initiation in life. You know, you could learn quantum physics, or not. You could delve into Eastern philosophy, or not. You could do both, or not. You could become an expert in psychology, and Carl Jung and Freud and all that stuff, or not. You know, it's not one thing or the other. There's all kinds of avenues. And it's up to you what paths you take. And everybody's going to have something different to share, because everybody has taken different paths to enlightenment? No, initiation. And that's what makes this whole experience of all of us learning from each other really interesting. Alright? So that's what it means to be a truth seeker who doesn't believe there's a special state of consciousness called enlightenment to be found.